Welcome back to Everything Defensive Carry. On the last video, I did a practical everyday carry part 1. And I wanted to follow up on that because one of the things I said that I carried was OC spray. Now OC, there are different variants of chemical weapons. But we're going to talk about OC because that's what I know. That's what I've always used for, 20 years in law enforcement, and it's always worked for me. I've used the same brand that I was required to carry on the job that the agency gave us. This particular brand is made by Defensive Technologies. It's a subsidiary of can't see without my glasses, Safariland. So it's good stuff. Now there are different types of OC. You have OC that is in a spray. It's sprayed out of cone, it's sprayed out of stream, or it sprays out a gel that sticks to everything. You have OCs that are oil-based and OCs that are water-based. I prefer a water-based OC. That's what this is. It's water-based. What they do is they take a type of a pepper seed, they grind it up, and they extract the oil and they put it in a solution, whether it be oil or water. The reason I like the water-based is because, number one, it is less likely to clog in this nozzle than oil-based. And number two, because it is a water-based and peppers are, they're readily absorbed by the human body, the water allows that absorption to take place quicker. So you're going to get a faster effectiveness than the oil-based. Now the people may like the oil-based, and that's fine. Now this type also has an antifreeze element in it, so if it's left in your car overnight on a cold night, it doesn't freeze up, which is a big plus. Like I said, I've used this many years and never had a problem with it. Been sprayed with it, which I hated. It tore me up. But let's talk about why you would want to carry OC spray. In the course of human interaction, when you're dealing with people, not every time that somebody wants to attack you, or not every attack is going to require a deadly force answer. Now, there are certain elements that may come into play, such as disparity of force. If you're a man against a woman, if you're elder, if you're weaker, if you're smaller, all of these things may allow you to justify deadly force to somebody who's armed. But for somebody like me, who's in pretty good shape, I would have a hard time justifying shooting somebody who is making some verbal threats and displaying some mannerism, what we call in Kentucky, according to our statutes here, menacing behavior. And you may have that type of statute in your state, in your jurisdiction. You might want to check that out. But menacing behavior is where somebody is not necessarily armed with a gun or a knife or a club or whatever, but they're displaying the mannerisms of somebody who is threatening to do you bodily harm. Some type of assault where you think they're getting ready to hit you or whatever by their verbiage and by their body actions. So in this type of situation, OC spray really bridges the gap. It keeps you from having to use deadly force. The thing is, you don't want to wait till the attack is on. You want to wait till the elements of that type of activity are seen. They're made manifest. The person's threatening you. They're starting to close in a little bit. They're acting in a threatening manner. This is when you want to deploy the OC spray, not when they're on top of you. So anyway, the reason that I like OC spray is I think of it like this, and this is what I tell everybody. If you're in a situation, let's say you were in a situation where you had to use some type of force, let's say deadly force and or non-lethal force, and you were wrong. It was found that you were wrong. Look at the difference in the consequences. If you shot somebody and you killed them or you injured them, you're going to prison if you're found guilty, if it's questionable, according to the circumstances in the jury. So that's not a place that you want to be at, but it's a very realistic scenario, especially here in this country. Look at what that kid went through who went down there to, where was it, Minnesota or Wisconsin, and look what they put him through, and he was absolutely justified in what he did. Think of the mental turmoil and the agony, the inner strife and the worry that you're going to go through. You're potentially going to lose everything you have and you've worked for. Your family, you're going to lose your home, you're going to lose your finances, everything will be taken away from you, and you're going to be put in a facility full of apex predators, the type of predators that made you carry in the first place. On the other hand, if you sprayed that person and you were wrong, at the most you're probably looking at maybe a 30-day suspended sentence, maybe a assault 4 charge, maybe a few $1,000 in legal fees for an attorney to represent you in court. I mean, it's not a good scenario, but you're not going to lose your rights, you're not going to lose your family, you're not going to be put in a facility for the rest of your life or for the better part of your life, surrounded by thugs and apex predators. So this right here really bridges the gap for me in those things. This right here is a lot less susceptible to where if something does go wrong, or let's say you were wrong, let's say you're not going to, at least the severity of the consequences for being found wrong are not near as great. So I think we should think about that, and I think this is why we should all incorporate some type of non-lethal force in our everyday carry, because it just makes sense to me. Like I said, I've used it for many years. I can't tell you the amount of people I've sprayed with it, and I've always had good results. But it's like everything else, there's a proper way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. So I would encourage everybody to think about it, decide for yourself, and now I mean, you don't want to, if somebody pulls a knife or a gun or whatever, you're not going to want to pull OC. You're still, deadly force response is a deadly force response. But at least this right here gives you an option in those in-between gray areas with a lot less risk. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. I hope you guys get something out of it. At least maybe give you something to think about that you didn't think about before. And that's what this channel is all about. I'm not about, you're never going to see me monetize. I'm not going to have any fancy music. I've got this little camera that I use. I just want to put out some good information, provoke some thought, maybe help people have a different way of looking at things. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. If you have any comments or questions, just, please put them in there. I monitor that, and I try to respond as quickly as possible. If you have any questions, if I can answer them, I'll be more than happy to. And if I don't know the answer to it, I will find somebody who does, or be able to point you in that direction. So anyway, until the next time, we will talk to you again.